Anna Kroeger was a noted herbalist and healer from Boulder, Colorado. She's credited with opening the first health food store. Later in her career, she was put on trial for practicing healing without a license. During the trial, she testified that she was the daughter of Turkish immigrants and she had studied healing and nursing for 4 years in Turkey before coming to the United States. She said that she often found it necessary to astral travel to those in need of healing. When she saw the look of disbelief on the jurors' faces, she turned to the audience and asked, "Doesn't anybody here astral travel?" Welcome to Coffee Hour. I'm Stanley Smith. At Coffee Hour, we might not be astral traveling, but we are talking about topics which are of interest and import to most of us here in Illinois and beyond. Last week, I was on a train trip from Chicago to Boulder, Colorado, and on the trip in the club car, I heard conversations which caught my attention. I heard people talking about the JFK assassination, the vaccine, and how Bill Gates is probably the biggest criminal we'll ever know in this lifetime. I was struck by that because people in mid-America are talking about all the things that we're interested in. In many ways, it was heartening and so comforting to see so many sweet and lovely people in the small towns of the middle part of the country, the heartland of our country, and to realize that for many, an area which is simply just a flyover is essentially the heart of our nation. And our nation is not defined by the federal government. Our nation is defined by the people. And in fact, when you really meet people where they are, most people are kind and loving people. In my career, I employed a young graphic designer many years ago, and she shared once that when she dreams, she sometimes become aware that she was astral traveling during her dream. And she said the trick of that is to be aware that you're astral traveling. So then you can direct where you want to go to. In our lives, I think we can see sometimes that the challenge for us is being aware that we're alive in this lifetime. And in this awareness, the opportunity is that we can direct where we want to go. I think most of us believe that God has intended all good things for us, and He does want us to go to all the good places. On my trip, I was struck by the idea that we all have our own notion of how things should be, and our ways are simply our ways, and they seem pretty good to us, but they're not God's ways. God's ways are a different view, a different direction. And when we weigh the two and balance the two, we can experience the best of both worlds. In the Hannah Kroeger trial, she was eventually acquitted of the charges and she was accommodated. She was able to continue her healing practice as long as she didn't actively break the law. I believe that healing and reconciliation are indeed coming into the world if we allow them to happen, if we step aside a little bit from our ways to let God's ways come into the picture, we will be accommodated. This Saturday on the call, we will have speaker Michael Kazanjian, who'll be speaking about logic and common sense and how these are not polar opposites. They're actually two sides of the same coin for our reasoning and discerning. But in our times, I think we can see that logic and following the science have somehow eclipsed the notion of common sense. Just like a lot of the topics people are discussing in the club car in the middle part of America, common sense somehow has gotten relegated to the wayside. Michael will explain to us these two different reasoning methods and how we can incorporate them and steer our lives and our destiny in the direction we want to go. The Saturday call is every Saturday at 9 a.m. Central Time on Zoom. I will include my email in the description of this video, and I'll be happy to send you an invitation. And I look forward to seeing you very, very soon.